Hello, I'm Nancy Alexander with Ladybug Wreaths. I'm doing a free video for you today. This will be in our Wreath Tips with Nancy series. Actually, I posted a picture of what I'm going to be doing on Facebook, and I think I sent one out in my newsletter, so everybody's been saying they can't wait to see how to do this. I'm going to change it around a little bit. The picture that I first saw had a basket, and it had a live pumpkin in it, and it had a purple cabbage, and it had bittersweet, and it had a lot of stuff that's growing outside right now, or that you can go and buy. But I have an older pumpkin, a fake one, and I have my basket, and I've got some artificial stuff that I'm going to make mine with. Here in the South, if I made one of these with a fresh pumpkin right now, it would be dead by the time we got around to really wanting to use it for the fall season. So, I want to show you what I did in the bottom of my basket. These are styrofoam bricks. I've got two that I just glued to the bottom of my basket, and I didn't put a lot of glue so I can pop them back off really quickly. And I needed a little height right here, so I used one small piece and I glued it in. And sometimes, just to make it stay, I use some of these 3-inch picks. You can see a couple of them in the basket. I just go in at an angle through this piece of foam into that one, and if I go at this angle this way and at this angle this way, it's not going to come out. So we're going to, I want my pumpkin to be at an angle, and one of the first things that I'm going to do is add loops of honeysuckle. You know, we always have to add loops of honeysuckle to everything. I've got a huge pile of it back here. This is some of the honeysuckle that we sell. It comes in rolls. And I wanted to use some big pieces, so I'm not going to separate it a whole lot. Now, this stuff gets kind of hard to work with. You'll just have to cut it here and there, however you want it to go in your basket. Cut that piece off that I'll use, but I want to start with a big piece. And I want to push the end of my big piece into my styrofoam. So then we'll start at the front. And I'm going to push it into the desert foam bricks. If you'll notice, my pumpkin's not anchored in, but by the time I get all this stuff looped around it, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to cut this right about here. I wasn't sure where I was going to cut it, so I left it all in one piece for now. We just finished filming a video for you that will be for sale very soon on making deco mesh wreaths. I've been getting email after email after email of ladies saying, "You said you were going to make a deco mesh wreath. When are you going to make it? I want to see that. I want to buy your video." So we just finished doing that, and when I finish with the pumpkin basket, I'll show it to you. I hope you're enjoying this fall weather like I am. I think it's wonderful. It's my favorite time of year. Let's see. Now, you never know how this is going to go. Every one of these that you do are just going to look different. I'm going to raise this up a little bit so I can stick this piece in. Now, I've got a big wad of honeysuckle vine right here. Probably too thick. I'm going to have to separate it and take some of it out. And it comes all twisted up the way it when it's harvested, they just pull it down out of the tree. So it'll be all curled together, which is great. We like it. The thicker and the bigger it is and the more curls it has, the more we like the way it looks. My friend Kim is behind the camera today, filming. Kim is much happier standing out here making wreath after wreath after wreath, and she has to be still behind the camera. I never see Kim still, except for when she has to be. Let's see. I've got a tangled mess. Now, if you don't have any honeysuckle vine, or if you haven't purchased any from me, all you have to do in most states is just drive on the side of the road and look for it, and you can pull it down from the trees, or if you've got some in your backyard, or sometimes just use grapevine. Anything that will curl up and kind of dry like this. It may have leaves on it at first. This time of year, I think all the leaves are falling off, so that would be okay. Now, I'm raising up my pumpkin each time so I can stick my honeysuckle into the styrofoam. There. Having a hard time getting my fingers in. Okay, I'm going to turn this one around so I can see the front just a minute. Now, obviously I'm wanting this one to be pretty wild. So I want a piece that's going to go back over this side too. Now, I have some leaves on the top of this pumpkin. They're fake leaves, but they're wired, so I'm going to wrap that wire around that last piece right there. That'll help hold it. Just if you have a little piece sticking out, just bring it back in and stick it in the styrofoam. It'll leave a little loop sticking out, which is cute. Now, I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm just going to tuck that in there. This is something I may or I may not leave. I may put it together for Thanksgiving and for fall, and then I may take it back out. It's anchored in enough that it will stay, but this is a basket that I like to use for other stuff too. Okay, like that side is the front. Now, I'm going to add some green moss, green sheet moss. It comes in a box with sheets like this. And you don't want people to see your styrofoam in there. And if I were using a live pumpkin and live flowers, I would have put dirt in the bottom first. I would have used the moss and the honeysuckle vine. I might have had to even put a piece of styrofoam down in there underneath the dirt to help anchor the styrofoam. I mean, to keep anchor the honeysuckle vine. So I'm just going to go all the way around, tuck in the little holes. It's okay to leave a piece hanging out. I think that already looks cute. What you think? Now, the only thing about sheet moss is you get lots of dirt on your counter or wherever you're working. It just comes off the bottom of it, but that's okay. A lot of you have been sending me pictures of your beautiful wreaths that you've been making. Many of you have bought my DVDs and send me a picture saying, this is my first wreath. And y'all get so excited, and you won't believe it, but I get just as excited for you. Someone sent me one yesterday, and I sent it to my partner Linda in Connecticut. And she was just as excited too, and she's not a floral designer. Okay, this is something that I bought. I'm going to use this instead of using the live bittersweet. This actually came in a little circle. It was a little small wreath. I got it at Michael's, and it was 50% off. It was real inexpensive. So it has a little short end, a little thin, wiry end to it. And it has the little curly pieces, so I'm just going to curl this around some of the loops of my honeysuckle vine. Put a piece up high and curl it around. I wish I had some artificial bittersweet. I've had some of that before and I really love it. So if you have some of that, you can use it too. For what I'm doing right now, you just want something small. You don't want something really large. Now I'm going to anchor this one. I'm just going to wrap this around the handle of my basket because I want it to hang out of my basket a little bit. And I'm going to finish the back too, just in case I decide to put this in the center of my table, which is probably what I would do. But this could be used anywhere. It'd be pretty on my big back porch, it'd be pretty on my table, it'd be pretty sitting on the corner of my hearth at my fireplace. Let's see, I see one spot where I can use one more piece. Now, if you use a live pumpkin, it's going to be a little oranger than mine, so it'll show up a little bit better. But again, you need to make sure it's going to be somewhere where it won't rot quickly. And if you put it in your house where it's going to be warm, it won't last too long. Unless you just do this, right before Thanksgiving, right before your guests arrive. This would be good for Thanksgiving. And you can make a smaller version too. You could use a smaller pumpkin and a smaller basket. Okay, that's cute. Now I got a lot of different stuff we're going to experiment with and try. I love these. I thought a bunch of these coming up the side would be really cute. Since I don't have any purple cabbages, I've got some purple filler I'm going to cut up and put in there. And I've got some yellow heather that will be real pretty, and some little red berries. Let's see, let's try this first. Now I only have one stem of this yellow, so I'm going to try to get some height out of it and just have it sticking up beside my pumpkin. Now that's why I put my pumpkin in there at an angle, so I would have room to reach down on the side into the styrofoam to add some flowers. Let's see how that looks. That's a little bit taller than I wanted, and instead of taking it out all the way, I'm going to cut the top off because I want, and see, I can bend this piece up, and I'm going to put a pick on a piece of it because I want some more yellow coming out right here on the front. This is a 3-inch pick. I think we've got some 5-inch ones somewhere, but I'm not going to take the time to look for them. Instead, I'm just going to double up and use 2 3-inch picks. You can do that when you don't have the long ones in stock. And I'm going to use some of my floral tape. Remember, this is not sticky if you touch it, but if you pull it tightly and wrap it around your stem as you go down, it makes it stick to itself. So that looks pretty. Will look pretty. Now, I like that coming out right there. This little piece came loose, so I'm just going to kind of tuck it. A lot of times arrangements like this that I may not be using for too long, I'm not quite as careful about how I anchor everything in. Normally, if it's an arrangement or a wreath that we're going to be using for a while, everything is anchored so securely it'll never come out. But like I said before, I will probably be taking this back apart after, probably after Thanksgiving. Kim, I'm going to need some more 3-inch or 5-inch picks, please. Now I'll show you a secret. This stem was missing a flower right here. All of these, I had this one on a little tiny stem. All of these come off, and I can stick, it's got a hole in it, and I can stick it back onto this stem. So it fills it back in. Thank you. I'm going to cut that bottom leaf off so that I can add a pick to it. Well, she gave me a bunch of them. These are the 5-inch picks right here. And I just hold it up beside my stem, wrap it around there very tightly, and then start spinning it as I pull the wire down. And then wrap it again with my floral tape, and I pull that really tightly. It hides the wire on your pick, but it also makes it be more secure. So I want this one to come up right beside this yellow stem. And I think I'll have one or two more kind of falling out the front side on the opposite side. There any little pieces where leaves were or anything that's sticking out, I always trim up my stem to make it look nice and neat. Now, after you practice putting a pick on a stem, you'll eventually get to where it won't come off. At first, it's going to be hard to pull it tight enough. But just keep practicing and it will. Okay. Have that coming out the side. And we'll bring this one out the side also. We'll cut those bottom leaves off because I'm not going to need them. I may cut part of these daisies off that I put up on that tall stem. It looks a little much to me. Now you'll do this yourself. You'll put something in there and you'll think it's going to look really good, but then you'll look back at it later and you'll think it's a little thick. It's hiding a little bit too much. And you can always go back in and do what I just did. Cut out part of it. And these I'm going to put on a pick together, side by side, both of them. The yellow heather and the red black-eyed Susans, is that what these are? Daisies. They're one of the fall flowers that you can see around everywhere right now in pots. Okay, now, okay, that adds a little touch of it right over there too. I want to add some of this purple filler around the base of it. And this comes on a bush. I buy a lot of bushes, and I buy a lot of these. I don't know how many of you have my secret vendor list, but gosh, just about everything I buy now comes from my favorite supplier. Now I have a lot of suppliers listed in my secret vendor list, and those are exactly what they say. They are my secret vendors that I have worked for and researched and walked the halls of the Atlanta market for years to find who was the very best. But there is one that I buy everything I can buy from them. Their prices are amazing. So I do give you that in my secret vendor list, and you actually get to see me walking around shopping in their huge, huge warehouse as I pick up many stems that I like, and I show you the price, the item number. I make it very easy for you to order from them. And we just did the 4th update of the secret vendor list. It just came out a few weeks ago. And I've added, God, I think it was 4 more videos. We spent about 5 hours there filming that day, showing you all of their new materials for Christmas, showing you deco mesh. If you're wanting Deco Mesh wholesale, if you have a sales tax number, that is the place where you want to get it. And when we finish with this pumpkin basket, I'll show you 2 Deco Mesh wreaths that we just made. Now I'm still putting picks on these stems. I added 2 together to this one with the little airy leaves and one with the little pods. And I'm going to put it in at an angle right here. I'm wanting some purple and some color down next to the basket. This is really good to fill in around the pumpkin. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to add 2 of them together again and use one of my 5-inch picks. If you're using, I mean, you could actually not even use the styrofoam. If it's going to be sitting somewhere where no one much is going to be touching it, once you put the honeysuckle vine in there, it's going to hold your pumpkin in place. You could just go around and stick some things in the base of it if you like. Now, I need some more back here, so I'm going to put this in at an angle. I want it to kind of fall out. And I've got one more spot back here where I'll do one. I think I'll just do one stem back there. Everybody asks where I get my wire cutters, where I get my glue guns. Well, my glue guns come from that same secret vendor. My wire cutters are Klein wire cutters, and they're at an angle. They're not perfectly straight. You can buy those in Lowe's or Home Depot. In the electrical department, not in the tools, but I've got a link for those on my website. It's under products and then supplies, and you can just click on that link and order them from Amazon if you prefer. Okay. Now I'm going to add just a few red berries that'll be kind of falling out the sides. I love these berries because they look so real. It's a beautiful fall day here today in South Carolina, in Anderson. We've got our door open. And I hope you're enjoying the fall weather where you live. My partner Linda lives in Connecticut. And I think they've already skipped fall. I think they went right to cold weather because she and her husband ride their bikes. He rides about 60 miles a day. She rides about 20 miles a day. But when it gets below 60 degrees, they don't ride in the winter. And she told me this morning and yesterday, it's gotten so cold there now that they're not riding. And I just keep cutting these pieces off this bush, and if you'll notice, most everything I buy now comes on bushes. You can get really good quality that way, and you can save a lot of money that way. But there was a time when I would flatly refuse to even look at bushes. If a salesman would come in my shop, someone that I'd ordered from a while, he'd bring in samples or he'd bring in books, and he'd say, I know you don't order bushes, so I didn't bring any in. And when I think about all those years when I could have gotten some bushes that had nice flowers on them and cut them up and used them, the prices would have been less. I think the quality would have been just about the same. Every now and then you might want to use a single stem mixed in with some flowers off a less expensive bush. And notice how I kind of poke around in there with my pick until I hear it hit the styrofoam. And I'm going to put one coming out the back, a couple of them coming out the back. And we're close to being through with this. Oh, there was one thing, a couple of things I thought I would use, but I don't know if I'm going to have room now, am I? This neat succulent. I'm going to see. I'm going to try it because I like it so much. Notice I'm having to open, oops. I'm opening it out, pushing it down with my fingers. And we'll see how it looks. If it's too much, I'll take it back out. And I'm going to tuck some of these leaves up underneath the handle of my basket. And underneath the loops of the honeysuckle vine. Well, I like it. Now notice I kind of had to work it in to get it in on that side. It's kind of got the look of a cabbage. And since I don't have a cabbage, I thought we'd use that. Okay, I was fixing to add a couple of more of these red berries kind of draping out the back. And I'm going to need to put picks on them. I'm getting covered up with all this yellow heather. I got yellow spots all over me, but that's what it is. That one in there, and I've got a space for one more, probably right here. Now, if there are little pieces off the stem, maybe where a leaf is missing, if it's going to show, I usually trim them off, kind of trim it up a little bit so it'll look nice. We'll have this one out this side. And I see a spot back here where I missed some moss, so I'm going to tuck it in. Do you think I need anything else, Kim? I think it's pretty full. I wanted to use some of this grass in there, and it would be pretty, but I've got a lot in there, y'all, and I don't think it needs it. A mushroom would be really pretty coming out the side of your basket, but I don't need that either. Or if your basket is larger, you could even put some smaller pumpkins up in there, some gourds. You could fill in with some of those. So there's no particular way you have to do this. Just look around and see what you've got, or look around and see what you can buy. You probably already have a basket you could use. This was a basket that I got for about 75% off 2 years ago. And I keep using it for a lot of different things. But this is how you make your pumpkin basket for fall, for Thanksgiving. You can put it on your table. You can put it any number of places. And as you see, it's very simple. If you don't have the honeysuckle like we do, go look for any kind of a vine outside. It'll dry and you can wrap it around your pumpkin just like I did. Now, before I go, I'm going to grab the wreath that we just filmed me making out of deco mesh. And we'll have the video for this will be for sale, I hope, by this weekend. It's very, very simple to make. And I'll show you step by step how to start with a work wreath. And we added 2 different types of mesh, 2 different colors. And then we used 2 different kinds of ribbons. And then the balls and the filler. And you will love doing this. It's very simple. It'll be a lot of fun. Let me hang it back up. And I am very, very happy that you visited me today and that you learned how to make a pumpkin centerpiece. And I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget my website is ladybugwreaths.com. I'll see you later. Bye.